The Santa Fe has been Hyundai's one of most popular SUVs ever to sell. It's been very spacious, very practical, and it's also been a no-nonsense option for any family. For 2024, as you can see, they have heavily revised it. It's extremely funky looking, and it's got a lot of people talking, for good and for bad. Let's see how this updated 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe is. When you come to the design of the updated Santa Fe, well, I'll just be honest, it's got everyone talking, good and bad. Everyone has an opinion these days on the internet, and I can see comment sections on various posts where people are praising it, some people are bashing it. Personally, I really like the way this car looks, especially from the front and the side. I think it's got lots of nice cuts and creases, lots of nice little cool design elements in the front as well. I love the mesh grille. I love the mesh bottom part of the bumper as well. And what complements this paint, this looks, is the paint, which is called earthy brass. So it's like a matte brown color, which I really like. It's a $250 option, but I feel like it's a $250 well spent because it really enhances the appeal of the car. You've got lots of matte black elements also on the bumper, and you've got this new design theme that Hyundai is trying to implement in all their crossovers. So there is this one crossover called the Hyundai Exter in India. So it's got similar headlight patterns to this. So I feel like maybe Hyundai is working towards making a uniform design for their crossover. So you have this H emblem, and then you have this one constant LED bar on the grille, which looks pretty cool at night, to be honest. And when you see an H, you know this is the Hyundai. It's not what they try to copy, which is the Defender. In fact, I feel like this does look like a baby Defender, which is no bad thing because I really like the way Defender looks. This also looks pretty cool. You do have matte black emblems as well all over the car, and overall it looks very imposing, very striking, and very fresh on the road. When you come to the side is when you truly notice the size of the vehicle, and they've made this Santa Fe longer than what the previous one was. In fact, the previous one we used to have a Santa Fe XL version. I feel like this is as long as that from the factory, which is no bad thing because more space means more practicality. But yeah, you can see the true boxy characteristics from the side, and it might be a hit or miss. I personally like it, but I feel like the C-pillar onwards could have been slightly better integrated. I feel like it's a bit too boxy. I also like these wheels. They look really good, and they're special to this ultimate calligraphy variant, which is like the top of the line variant, and I think it looks really good, looks very stylish, multi-spoke. You do have a grab handle on the C-pillar as well, so you can use that to climb to the roof if you have a roof box or if you have a tent on the top, because yes, you can mount a tent on the roof. They do also have a slightly rugged version which is called the Santa Fe XRT, so that has like all-terrain tires, and you can really take the car to some open terrains where you can camp on the car. So you do have some grab handles, which is again a throwback to the Defender. I believe the Defender also has something very similar. I think the Defender has ladder. This doesn't have a ladder, but it's almost there. I mean, they can't directly copy it, right? But they've tried. Overall, I do really like the front and the side, and I think it's really sizable. Especially you can see how big it is, and that does translate into very spacious cabin, but more on that later. When you come to the rear of the all-new Santa Fe is when you realize this is the part that people have been talking about the most. Some people have liked it, some people have not liked it. I personally am growing to like it, but it will take some more time for me to completely adjust to the rear design. It's not bad per se, but I feel like it's too flat, especially when you come from the roof and suddenly it just drops down. It reminds me of the older Ford Flex. I mean, if you Google that car, you'll see what I'm talking about. The resemblance is uncanny. Having said that, do have some badges and some cuts and creases on the tailgate to break the monotony. You do have badges, so it's all in black, matte black, the Hyundai logo, the Santa Fe, the H-track, which is the all-wheel drive system, and then you have some more gloss black on the bottom part of the bumper. You do have taillights integrated onto the tailgate, and when you do unlock it, you will notice that this does have the same H-themed DRL, which is common to the front. Hyundai is really trying to tell you that this is a Hyundai. When you see an H, you know that this is nothing else but a latest version of any Hyundai on sale. You can also open the tailgate from a variety of ways. So you do have a button on the tailgate, you have a button on the interior, and you can open it from the key as well, like I'm going to show you. And it takes its own sweet time. But once it opens, you can see that the boot space with all three rows up isn't the best. It can take some weekend backpacks at most, but nothing much more than that, which is the same thing I had with the Sorento, which is its sibling car. You can also fold the third row down, like that and get access to much more space, but then you do have to lose the third row capacity. But yeah, it's practical and you can play around. It has a 50-50 split, so you can have maybe one passenger and luggage. That's the best practical combination that I would personally use this vehicle for. I'm now on the inside of the updated Hyundai Santa Fe. As you can see, it's a completely brand new fascia. It's an all new look and I think I really like it. You do have a 3-spoke steering with like the adaptive cruise buttons and that seek track and the volume button, and it's a 3-spoke, which does remind you of the Defender. The Defender has a very similar steering design, but that has the haptic touch, does not have physical buttons, but it will definitely remind you of the Defender if you've driven one. It's all black inside here, which is nice. You do have the option of a white interior, I believe, but this car has the black, and I think for a daily practical usage, the black suits better, especially when you carry family and kids and you want to eat and everything. I think the black hides dirt much more easily. You do have an all-glass touch panel over here for the AC controls, which looks very premium, feels very premium, has a haptic vibration whenever you touch something, so that knows that you have actually activated a command, which is very nice. You do have the knob, the dials here to adjust the temperature, which is for both driver and passenger. You do have physical buttons for seek, audio, track, everything, which is again very nice. Volume buttons as well. You do have a few more buttons on the bottom here for the auto hold, the drive mode selector, and the terrain mode, which is just one knob, which is typical of how every new Hyundai has been. The hill descent, the parking camera, and the sensors. You have a center console, which is very big here, but you do have two wireless chargers here together. Normally I've seen any car only one. There's 2 wireless chargers, which is pretty cool, and you can charge both devices, and it charges at a decent speed, which is good. It doesn't even heat up the phone, which is a bonus. You do have cup holders here, and then you have some more storage over here. And just in case you think that storage is not enough, you do have an underside storage as well below the center console, which can easily take a small handbag or your wallet or keys, anything. There's lots of space to put lots of stuff. You do have a 12-volt socket as well, AC vents, and you have lots more storage. So if you think even that storage is not good enough, you have a storage that opens up here. You have a storage that over here which is open, which doesn't have a lid, and then obviously you do have the traditional glove box as well. What can I say? Hyundai has really packaged the new Santa Fe so brilliantly, and it's so immensely practical. You have lots of places to keep your stuff. You do have a curved 13-inch screen which has the wireless CarPlay, and you do have the speedometer dials as well, which is very clear, very nice. The resolution is good. The touch response is also really good. You do have a fingerprint sensor as well on this side of the dial, so you can set to your own driving preferences, be it the seat position or any other modes you like. You can set it with the fingerprint sensor with multiple drivers, which is pretty cool as well. You do have leather all around, and you do have this sort of carbon fiber-ish weave on the door pads as well, which is premium. What I really like, and I have to call out Hyundai and praise them, is this Alcantara / suede roof liner. This really uplifts the whole ambience of the interior. In fact, it feels like a much more expensive car than it is. The seats are very nice. You've got lots of adjustments. You've got lumbar supports. You've got everything. Doesn't have massage, but it does have memory seats as well. You do also have extendable under thigh support, but that only moves when you're in park. Doesn't move otherwise. So once you're in park, set it up and then you can save it to your memory, which is pretty cool. What can I say? Hyundai has been killing the interior game since a lot of years, and they have taken it to the absolute next level with this new Santa Fe. You do also have a sunroof, but that's not it. This is one sunroof. You do have another sunroof for the middle row as well. So you do have a manual blind for this, but for the rear, it's an electrically controlled blind. I'm not sure if the glass opens in the rear, but the front it opens. You can enjoy the fresh air as well. What can I say? It's just a brilliant place to be. I'm now in the middle row of the Santa Fe. As you can see, space is really not an issue. I'm 5'8" and a bit wide in size, but I'm not tight in any way. There's tons of place to tuck in my feet. Knee room is excellent. Headroom is mind-blowing. I'm sure even 6'5" people upwards will not scrape their head with the roof. It is amazing, especially you have the cutout with the moon roof. This is the captain seat version. You do have an option of bench seats as well, and these seats are electrically adjustable, which is very cool, and height adjustable, which I have not seen in any captain seat in a long time. Both seats are heated as well. You do have lots of practical options as well. So you do have 2 cup holders on each door, and then you do have another bottom cup holder to accommodate an extra drink. You do have some more storage, you do have trays, you do have hooks as well, USB ports in the seat and AC vents on the B pillar. You do also have an extra storage which is usually reserved in most cars for the front passengers, but you can access it from the rear, which is very cool. Just like the front, the rear is extremely practical, extremely functional, and it has lots of cool features here and there to make sure that the rear passengers are just as well equipped as the front. What can I say? Hyundai has been killing it over the years, and this Santa Fe is no different. I'm now in the third row of the Santa Fe. As you can see, space is really not an issue. Legroom is not bad, and this seat is adjusted for a comfortable position in the middle row. Headroom is really not an issue. You do have a small window, you have a Type-C port, and you do have rear AC fan speed control and a proper 3-prong plug point as well. 2 cup holders on each side, and it's actually not that bad. However, at my height, as you can see, my knees are too upright and I feel like the backrest is too reclined. I don't know if there's a control for the recline. I haven't been able to find it yet, but it's a bit too laid back and I feel like I'm too laid back. I wish I was a bit more upright. That would have been a bit more comfortable in the third row. But yeah, for kids and for shorter adults, it's really not that bad. And even for me, I don't mind sitting here for shorter journeys. If you want to get in and get out, you do have an electronic release on the seat. When you press it firm, and it just folds really quickly forward, which is really fast for an electric release system. I've never seen something this quick in any car. I'm now behind the wheel of the new Santa Fe, so let's get the numbers out of the way. This has a 2.5 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder, produces about 270 odd horsepower, has the 8-speed dual clutch gearbox, and is all-wheel drive, the H-track as Hyundai calls it. To slot into drive, you have to use this steering mounted column shifter, if I can say that. Shift into drive. This is how they have it in all the Ioniqs as well, and we can set off, and it has pretty good low-end torque, not much turbo lag to start off with, and it picks up speed really well. So there are a few drive modes, so I can shift it into sport, my drive, or normal. That's it. No eco, no comfort. And in normal, I've been driving this vehicle in normal because it's not a sporty vehicle, so it's pretty good, and I'm on a very perfect stretch of tarmac, and the ride is very good, and it's very comfortable, very plush. Even though this has very big wheels, I believe this has 20 or 21 inch wheels, it really rides really well and it's very comfortable. You do have paddle shifters as well. I don't quite like the feel of the paddle shifters. It feels a bit too plasticky, but you can toggle through the gears through this the flappy paddles. But yeah, otherwise the driving position is also very nice, very upright. You have a very clear view of the bonnet, so you can tightly maneuver this vehicle in very tight parking spaces, so it's easy to drive in city urban conditions as well. On the highway, it cruises really well. You do have the adaptive cruise control, which is really good in the Hyundai these days. The lane centering and everything works really well provided. You do have clear markings on the road. What can I say? It just drives like a typical new Hyundai. It's comfortable, it rides well, the seats are nice. You do have nice lumbar support as well, and the engine has decent pep. However, having said that, I feel like the transmission and the engine could have been better mated. So if I floor it, it takes a bit of a delay, and the engine feels gruff and very coarse. I feel like the refinement really goes down the drain once the RPM crosses 3,500–4,000 RPM. But I believe that's one of the only few problems with the driving dynamics. The other problem I would say is the fuel economy. It's not the best. This does have a hybrid option if fuel economy is your concern, but in this current trim with the 2.5 turbo, I've been averaging about 13 and a half, 14 liters per 100 in the city, and about 9 and a half on the highway. So my combined is showing about 13-ish, 13 and a half, which is a bit on the higher side definitely for something like this. But again, if you want fuel economy, you do have the hybrid option. Definitely you can opt for that if your running is much higher. But yeah, otherwise it feels really good. You do have the camera as well, so you can flip it, and then I have the camera view, so it's just in case if you have your whole car loaded with the passengers and you can't actually see out of the mirror because of all the heads you see of your passengers, but you do have the camera, which is very cool as well. And yeah, overall it feels good. The brake pedal is again a bit spongy, and ABS does kick in a bit too early for my liking. It's a bit too sensitive, just like even I face the same thing in the Sportage as well and the Sorento. But yeah, otherwise it just is a very comfortable, relaxed family hauler. That is it. That's the Santa Fe has always been that, and for this generation they didn't have to go too wrong. Now with the added bonus of all the tech and all the funky, quirky additions with the visual appeal. In conclusion then, the 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe, well, as you can see, they have fully revolutionized the Santa Fe. It's one of the most famous people carriers they have, and they have completely updated it for 2024. It's got this funky looks, it's got an all new interior. I think it rides and handles decently. It's very practical, and it's a Hyundai, so they are making really good and reliable cars these days. I know they do have sometimes one-off recalls here and there, but overall I would say that they don't make really bad cars, and I think this looks really good. The engine and gearbox could have been better mated personally, but I am an enthusiast, so I have my different judgments. For a layman, I think it's perfect. They don't need anything more. The power is sufficient. The fuel economy could have been better, but I don't think it's a deal breaker, because I think most SUVs in the segment roughly have the same kind of fuel economy. At around $55,000 for this ultimate calligraphy variant, this is the top of the line, fully loaded with all the Alcantara roof lining and the Napa leather. This is the most expensive Santa Fe you can get, and I think that's pretty good value, because at $55,000 you're getting everything, and a car that moves on its own as well. You got to be honest, that's a pretty cool gimmick you can show off to your friends. I mean, if I were in the market to buy a 3-row SUV, this might be one of my top contenders.